which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Like we're going to have one of these fun meetings tonight here. Next order of business on the agenda, item number 2 is recognitions and acknowledgements. And the first is a proclamation regarding Teacher Appreciation Week, May 5th and May 9th. I'm going to read it, and then we're going to call Ms. Delsky up for a photo opportunity here. Proclamation commemorating Windsor Teacher Appreciation Week, May 5th through May 9th, 2025. Let it be known by all citizens of Windsor that whereas Windsor teachers work to open minds to new ideas, knowledge, and dreams, whereas teachers fill many roles as listeners, explorers, role models, motivators, and mentors, whereas Windsor teachers should be accorded highest public esteem, reflecting the value the community places on public education. Whereas teachers leave a lasting influence on us long after our school days are only memories. Whereas the Windsor Board of Education recognizes that through their dedicated efforts to ensure our children learn the knowledge and skills needed to be successful in college, careers, and life, Windsor teachers are vital in building the future. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed on this, the 8th day of April, 2025, that the Windsor Board of Education hereby declares our appreciation to our teaching staff and proclaim the week of May 5th through May 9th as Windsor Teacher Appreciation Week. Signed by myself as president on behalf of the board members and Dr. Hill.
Come on over here. Get the runt over there.
Everybody see again.
Be seen?
I'm okay.
Ready on 3, 1, 2, 3, big smiles. Awesome, thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the JFK student presentation on Blue Earth composting. I recognize Dr. Hill to recognize Mr. Gagne.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I will call Principal Gagne up to present his students and their program.
Thank you. I'm actually going to have the students present this program. I'm just going to stand to the side. Talk to the microphone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is your job, no?
Okay, everybody ready?
Hi, my name is Roslyn White. I go to John F. Kennedy Elementary School, and I am in 3rd grade. This year, JFK began recycling our food scraps. A company called Blue Earth collects our food waste. Each week, the food scraps are recycled to compost soil. The compost soil is used in our JFK pollinators garden.
Hi, my name is Millie Tom. I go to John F. Kennedy Elementary School, and I am in 3rd grade. The purpose of Green Team is to help our world be a better place. We are creating soil from food scraps that would otherwise be put in the garbage or a landfill. Hi, my name is London. I poured the milk into the milk garbage. I put the empty carton in the milk carton garbage can. Then I put the food scraps in the compost bin. Everything else goes into the garbage can. The trays are recyclable too, so we could put them right on the top of the garbage can.
Hi, my name is Charlie Moore. I go to John F. Kennedy Elementary School, and I am in 3rd grade. Here is a fact I learned about composting on Pebble Go. All natural materials eventually decompose. Bacteria, fungi, and insects help the process. They break down the materials faster in a pile. Then the materials turn into soil.
Hi, I'm Ariana Trufant. I go to John F. Kennedy Elementary School, and I'm in 5th grade. I think Green Team should be in every school because all of the trash that we throw out can go into the ocean. And animals may eat it and they can get sick or die. Throwing trash out also affects the air. And if it affects the air, that means the environment will be in danger. If other schools do Green Team, pollution and throwing trash out in the ocean will be way better. This Green Team has done a lot of composting and recycling. We have composted 7,690 pounds of food waste, generated 2,538 pounds of compost soil, 3,248 meals made from the compost soil, 19,994 pounds of carbon dioxide avoided, and 2,114.7 kilowatts per hour of energy created. We should encourage every school and people to compost to help us make the environment so safe.
In addition, we are also receiving our first soil delivery tomorrow. We're getting 5 yards of soil to go into our pollinator gardens to add to our plant grant that our 3rd grade adds to our 3rd grade curriculum with our pollinators in our butterfly unit in 3rd grade. So we will be adding that soil to the gardens, which we've already built the shed. We've already made the gardening areas and have all cleared the old plants and growth that were there. So it's all ready to go, and we are going to be starting that tomorrow. So actually, one of our fun Friday activities will be wheelbarrowing soil. And like the stats have said, over 7,000 pounds of food waste that we've collected. And with that also, they had said that at least 19 bags of trash a day have been eliminated from our dumpsters. So. And it did take, some staff some time to help set it up, but our students basically run the program. So that's why they presented tonight. We'd like to come around. We're gonna walk around and shake everyone's hand. Okay.
Yes.
And then we're gonna do a.
Good job.
Congratulations, a wonderful
Yep.
project.
Great job.
Congratulations, a wonderful project.
Great job. Congratulations. Very good job.
Congratulations.
Yes. Very well done.
Congratulations, great job. Congratulations, great job. Congratulations, great job. Congratulations, wonderful job.
Yeah.
Congratulations, wonderful job. Congratulations, wonderful job.
We're gonna send Leonard a shawl to help him figure out.
You gotta get up there and.
Yeah.
Oh, they're doing a picture. I smell coffee. It smells good.
There should be no problem. Get the kids.
That's all right.
Oh, no, Mr. Gagne.
That's all right.
Got a spot?
Yeah. Do you?
Yeah.
You get there?
Yep.
Yeah, here we go.
Tracy moved over, so hold on a second.
All right, you guys ready? Yeah. On three. 1, 2, 3.
JFK rule.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm going to screw you.
We didn't say anything.
Can't leave yet. Guess they were probably promised cookies.
Yeah.
Okay. We want to thank you so much for being here and presenting your ideas. Actually, I know Mr. Madison and Ms. Taylor have been active in trying to say we need to highlight certain practices, innovative practices going on so we can share it with the public, with the board, because we each are often assigned just to one school and we don't know what's going on in every school. And so this is wonderful to have this. So I'm going to open it up to questions or comments from the board. Ms. Taylor, want to lead off?
Thank you. I am so excited. Mr. Madison and I kind of just said it as like a thing to try and do. And so you're the first to come and bring us innovation straight from JFK. So that's a clap it up. It's coming from elementary first. Okay, so 2 questions. I don't know if you know the answer, but I'm going to put it out there. The first one is a serious one, and the first one is a fun Miss Taylor one. So the first one, second one. And so the first one is, to get started, how much did this cost?
So I'm going to answer that.
Okay.
So we were lucky enough to be able to piggyback off of a grant that Blue Earth had received to start to get these programs into the schools. I did request a ballpark figure for what it would cost based on the number of kids that we have in the schools currently. Blue Earth is getting us some calculations, and once I get those, I will make sure I email them to the board. It is not an inexpensive thing to do, but I think the excitement that it has generated in the kids and the knowledge and education of how their day-to-day practices affect our environment have been incredibly beneficial, to the point where kids have gone home and been like, we need to start composting.
Yeah.
They're becoming very aware, and that's just something beautiful if we can get our younger generation to start thinking about that now. They're our future, and it's going to be their world. So,
And Ms. Taylor, I can add a little bit. For the school portion, really, because the Blue Earth took care of that piece, we just had to work with food services on compostable trays. Once we had the compostable trays, that was our only little speed bump that we had.
Well, it seems to me the data shows that it's worth the price. I'm immediately thinking about Windsor Action and Windsor Climate Group that's in town, and always thinking of how ways that they can help with sustainability moving forward. So this is awesome. This conversation is not over, because I think we need to actually come on a field trip to see how everything works. I'm not signing up directly for wheelbarrowing, but I might. But I know, but I would love to get my hands dirty and help out. But so my second question is, when do my collard greens get in? So when you have those, let me know. Do you know? Do you know?
Pollinator garden.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, let me, okay, let me know, and we're gonna have to come down there and do a taste test. Yeah, yes. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, I'm so sorry. Okay, all right, well, I think that we've got some things to take back to our homes and things that we can do too, but this is amazing. Over 7,000 pounds of food waste since mid-October. one school. Thank you. Well done.
Mr. Madison.
A couple things. One is thank you very much for coming to presenting. It was very good and very informative, so I really appreciate it. And I also love that we're finding things that are going on in the schools and bubbling up to the Board of Ed. So as it was noted, Ayan and I kind of talked about that, and I'd love to see more of that. I'm a big believer in bottom-up leadership in my day job, but even here. So, you know, let the kids lead the way. Fantastic work. I would also say, a question for you. We compost at my house, and we do it because my wife tells me to. And so she came home one day and said, we're going to start composting. And she said, you will put your compost stuff here and the trash over here. I will tell you, way more of your stuff goes in the compost than trash. Like, we hardly change the trash bag at all because it doesn't stink, and it just takes forever for all that packaging to build up. Whereas, you know, you can cut the bottom off a cauliflower, you take up half of one of those little green bags and stuff. So composting is really effective. But part of the reason it's effective is because my wife is willing to boss me around, tell me what to do. How do you guys get all the other kids to comply and do it? Please.
Well, it kind of started when we started Green Team. We encourage other kids to start doing Green Team, and most of the kids in JFK wanted to, but we could only pick so many because, you know, then it would get crowded. We used to have some lunch monitors as kids, helping kids out composting and what goes in the trash and what goes in compost. And that's really helped all of us know like which one goes in what.
Gotcha. So now that they know, that they do it by themselves, or do you still have someone out there kind of telling them, make sure?
It's kind of like depends on the grade. Like sometimes I walk past the third grade cafeteria and there's like someone up there doing it. But for like fifth grade and fourth, I think we're good.
Yeah, one of our lunch monitors, Miss April, who wanted to be here tonight but could not be here, unfortunately, she is kind of the champion for the kids and keeps them organized in the cafeteria. If you come in, there's lines on the floor, they line up, they know exactly where to put their things. And Mr. Kent, who's also our custodian, is also a champion for the project and has really noticed the lessening amounts of trash in the dumpsters. He would report that there's upwards of 50 less bags per week of trash that he's lugging out because the milk jugs are empty. You're not carrying out the big heavy bags full of liquid. Everything is separated, and the kids really do a pretty good job now. They know exactly what goes where. And the stack of trays used to take an inordinate amount of space in the trash cans, and now by the end of lunch, it's just a stack.
And those are compostable.
And those are all compostable.
Yeah, and I would ask London, could you hold your poster up nice and high? Because London did a beautiful, that is what our JFK lunch looks like, exactly like that. Complete with London and Millie. Yeah, Charlie.
Hey, Charlie, yeah.
But with the labels on the wall, so students know where to put stuff, right? Perfect representation right there. The circles, that's the line that they go through.
Mr. Kent has been great. He sets out cones, so the kids have a literal path to walk through, so that way it kind of slows them down. And we do have a lot of kids that still love, they'll put the gloves on, they'll take the milk, they'll empty the milk carton, and then recycle the milk carton, and then help the kids understand, you know, this goes in here and this goes in there. If there's confusion, this green team, let me tell you, they'll take that tray, and they'll just put everything where it belongs. So I encourage you to take a look at the pictures too. We always have things labeled, and the kids have just been very self-directed, and have been amazing in supporting their peers.
It didn't take them long. Within a week, they were self-sufficient.
Mr. Wollaston?
Yes, there's a saying that people say, and a little child will lead them. And I feel like tonight, you guys have definitely inspired me. I remember maybe around like when I was in 6th or 5th grade, there was this really big deal about recycling. And for me personally, that changed my life. And to this day, I'm very adamant about recycling, but I don't quite compost yet. So you guys are challenging me, and I will go home with this, and I'll take this forward with my self as the years go by. This is an amazing initiative, and I hope you guys stick with it too for the rest of your years. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Wollaston, you don't live far from Mr. Madison, so maybe Mrs.
Come on over,
Madison.
man.
Hey, come over.
My wife
She's
will
gonna
show you what to
check
do.
to see if you're composting.
All right.
You could go to www.blueearthcompost.com, and they actually do residential pickup in Windsor.
Oh, wow, nice. We could come to JFK and one of the students can mentor you.
There you go.
Mr. Halleck?
Thank you. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for coming tonight. Really, way to lead the way, JFK. I mean, you guys are amazing. You're our leader. You are our leaders of the future. So, thank you so much. And hopefully we can, figure out a way to expand this to other schools in our district as well. Because I think this is a great thing. So that's all I want to say. Thank you so much.
Mr. Lockhart and then Ms. Cantor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would also like to speak on 2A as well, but I'll wait until we're all done with 2B, if that's okay with you.
Okay, yep.
Right, so I just want to say, this really makes my heart proud. My blue bin is always filled, but I'm not the type to compost. I will feed the squirrels and the animals with the food off to the back shed, and that's how I kind of get rid of the scraps. And people don't like that, but that's okay. Nothing goes to waste. But what's doing my heart well is some of the babies that I've seen at
OE.
At OE. I'm just saying, I see all the babies, and especially some of my babies that I saw at OE standing in front of me now. They're growing up, and they're doing amazing things, and it's just, one thing is telling me, time, please slow down, but at the same time, you are inheriting the earth in such a way that you are trying to manage her in a very responsible way. So I'm very proud of you. I've always told you girls, do not let anyone tell you what you can't do. If you put your heart and mind to it, you can always get things done. And I want you to continue in that spirit, so I really, really appreciate you.
Ms. Cantor.
Thank you. I just want to thank you so much. You did such a great job. I'm so proud of you. You're very innovative. I composted a lot before. When I had a garden, I would put coffee grounds in tea, the fruit and vegetable that I didn't eat, and rototill it into my gardens, and it made such a difference. It really made everything else grow well, and I still do some of it. But we end up with a lot of bears around, and they're like into the food, and the bobcats and the raccoons at night. So we have to be very careful where we put it, where we place it. And I think you're doing a great job. And I was wondering, are you going to ask any of the other schools to follow in your direction, encourage them, and maybe other towns reach out to them?
Yes, and thanks to Mr. Halleck, we have a new shirt. We're going to go JFK, we lead the way.
Oh, okay.
Ariella, did you want to answer the question?
It was actually our goal to get other schools to do it. That's like one of the reasons we presented that.
Well, again, Mr. Panos.
Well, who does the smelly task of dumping it into the ground and mixing it up? And does it smell?
So we actually don't have to do any of that. Blue Earth comes and picks up we have 2 bins that we fill each day. They come at the end of the week, pick up there's bags. They pick up the bags in the bin, put the new bags in. So all we need to do is roll in 2 garbage bins or 2 compost bins a day and roll them out. And that is Mr. Kent, bless his heart. He also secures them in case we do have bears come by to visit. So he bungee cords them shut.
Oh, I see.
We'll find out tomorrow if the soil is smelly or not.
So where you plant is right there at the school, is that correct?
Yeah.
We are going to be planting in the courtyard at the school, yes.
Yeah, and that's where the composted soil is?
Blue Earth picks up the food waste, brings it to their place.
Yeah.
That's a processing plant. That's where the soil is made, and then they're delivering it back to our gardens.
Oh, so, well, that's very interesting. Did they show you what that composting, that was all about? What they do with it?
Yeah, they haven't presented it to the students, but they presented it to the staff when we had them come aboard.
I see.
And they did come in and do a presentation for the kids to get them excited about it when we first kicked off. So there was recently in the news, Quantum Biopower in Southington. So they're actually the group that Blue Earth works with, and that's how we know how much energy is being created, because they actually process the waste, create the compost, and they create energy. And I think last statistic was that they're able to provide electricity for 800 homes in the Southington area just with what they're getting from the compost.
Oh, so now the vegetables.
Not just our school.
Not just
Yeah,
our school.
that was, now the vegetables you're gonna grow, or whatever it is over here, where is it specifically, in relation to the school?
It's in our.
Right in the courtyard in the front?
Courtyard on the east side of the building, there's a fence with
Yep.
a gate, and it's in that gated
Okay,
courtyard.
thank you.
The soil will be outside the gate.
Well, again, on behalf of the Board of Education, we're so glad that you came here and presented to us, and I'm glad to hear that there's some third graders here, not just fifth graders, so that you can be teaching the new third graders of next year when they come about what to do. So you guys are leading the way. Again, thank you so much for being here. Going to take a step back to item 2A, which was the proclamation about Teacher Appreciation Week, recognizing Mr. Lockhart.
Yes, thank you. So, I'm glad that we did it the way we did it. It's our schools, it's our kids, it's our parents and guardians, it's our community that we are here supporting as a Board of Education. And one of the things that I try to do as I go through my work at this day is that I'm always thinking about the students, the educators, and the staff. And what can I do to help the superintendent utilize, or not utilize, let me backtrack, to make sure that we assist him, provide to him whatever he needs to have a great school district, and to make sure that every single child is able to find the genius, the justice, and the joy in their education process, not only for the kids, but for the educators that are providing that process. And last month, we had a very difficult meeting where we really had some very hard discussions, and we really shone some difficult lights or perspective about some of our kids. And just to see a positive begin of this meeting is very refreshing. But more importantly, for the union co-president to extend us grace to attend this meeting today, to accept the proclamation from this board for Teacher Appreciation Month in the face of those comments and difficult commentary that we had last month. So I only speak for me. I just want to say to Ms. Delsky, thank you very much. I'm not sure what you went through to come here to accept that proclamation in the face of those comments, but it was a very difficult moment for all of us. I always welcome candid debate at this dais, but there were definitely some pointed comments about our kids that was just very disappointing, and it kind of reflected poorly, as if the teaching staff wasn't doing what they're supposed to be doing. So I just want to say congratulations, and I'm looking forward to attending all of the breakfasts at all of the sites during Teacher Appreciation Month.
Thank you. Anyone else? Next item on the agenda is audience to visitor, and Ms. Staley, I'm looking to you.
Good evening, this is Robin Daly from the Superintendent's Office. If anyone from the public would like to address the board, you may do so in two ways. You may type your name, address, and comment into the Q&A feature in the Zoom application, or you may speak by clicking raise hand or dialing *9 within the Zoom application. When you are called on to speak, you will be given 3 minutes to state your name, address, and comment. Please do not place the call on speakerphone. No comments can be made against the employees of the school district or children outside of your own, and no comments will be made by the board at this time.
Thank you. And for folks that are in the boardroom, this is not a back and forth. This is your opportunity to talk to the board directly. And at the 2.5-minute mark, if you're still speaking, Ms. Taylor will raise a red card briefly, just to let you know to start winding up your remarks. And at the 3-minute mark, she'll hold that red card up, and at that point, you really need to stop your speaking to us. And if you are online, if you are not able to see a red card, Ms. Taylor will interrupt at the 3-minute mark. Is there anybody first in the boardroom who'd like to come and address the board tonight? Please come in, state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Denise Latula. A nurse from Connecticut Elementary, and I live in Vernon. I'm here representing the nurses for Windsor Public Schools. Just have a letter that we composed that we'd like to read to you. I'm writing this to express strong opposition to the proposed reduction of the one full-time equivalent nurse position within the district. This decision comes at a time when student care and safety must remain the highest priority. Over the past 2 years, nursing staff has already been significantly reduced from 9 to 7, representing a 20% decrease that was directly impacting the level of care provided to students. Recently, dedicated nurses have left, each contributing significantly to the well-being of the students. This results in approximately a 50% turnaround in the past 2 years. Additionally, choosing not to fill the SAGE position for the 25-26 school year will only exacerbate the existing staff shortage. It is crucial to note the district's lack of transparency regarding the staffing realities. Since the SAGE departure, a nurse has indeed been present at the middle school, albeit not a District 1 hired, but which has cost the district more than it would have. The implication that the current SAGE nurse has been managing alone is misleading, as our students deserve adequate coverage and support. The implications of reducing nursing staff are severe. Nurses play an essential role in assuring the health and safety of students. With fewer nurses, critical tasks such as seeing students, administering medications, handling emergencies, and managing new students and field trips may become unmanageable. This not only jeopardizes students' health, but also places an undue burden on the remaining staff, which can lead to burnout and potential legal issues. If the district expects the remaining nurses to assume excessive and unrealistic workloads, the health and safety of students could be compromised. This may result in frustrated parents, potential lawsuits, and disciplinary actions against nursing licenses. Furthermore, the well-being and job satisfaction of nurses are equally important. If unrealistic expectations continue, experienced professionals essential to student care may leave. We urge the district to reconsider this decision for the benefits of students, nursing staff, and the entire school community. A safe and supportive environment for students should be prioritized, ensuring their safe health needs are met effectively and compassionately. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Anyone else in the boardroom who'd like to address the board tonight? Oh.
Hello. My name is Zane Calabrese. I'm the nurse at Oliver Ellsworth School. I'm also the president of the union. I just wanted to mention a few things that aren't in that letter. As of today, we have 3,259 students in the Windsor Public Schools. There are 7 nurses addressing them and an 8th at the middle school. We have 2 at the middle school, but only 1 primary nurse there. There's a temporary nurse there from an agency who shares the responsibilities with that Sage Park nurse, but truly doesn't. She doesn't have the responsibilities of taking care of the medications, the field trips, assessing the children that the primary nurse knows the most. She takes the full responsibility of all those children, not the agency nurse. She takes that responsibility. When we have 2 nurses that the district hires, they share that responsibility. They share making sure that the drugs are not expired, that the orders are not expired, and they expire at any time. They aren't just the school year anymore, and that's been addressed by state law. So they can expire not in June, in December. So we're always going after parents just for that. We've become these pharmacists that have to constantly keep on top of our meds and keep spreadsheets and make sure that they're ready to go on their field trips. There's one nurse addressing that there. It is overwhelming. There's 716 students at Sage Park. There was talk about an LPN being hired, but I think what the public isn't aware of is that LPNs do not work under the same scope as an RN. The LPN cannot assess, and that is a state law, and it's a law in all over the Northeast, that there are some can assess beyond what an RN or even an MD, you'll find them running rings around other people, but they cannot use that to treat the patient. They can only report that back. So having an LPN there puts undue stress on the RN again. I'm sorry, I'm not much of a speaker, but I do need to tell you that we have 6 building subs at OE, and I know that every school is struggling having building subs that have to cover the paras and cover the teachers, and there's a lot of absences. But there are no sub-nurses, so they pull from the high school or Sage Park to cover a school if they can't get someone from an agency, which happens more frequently last year than this year. But where that puts the nurse is no one else can replace her and her ability to look at a student the minute they walk in. We are already looking at color, their gait, how they're presenting themselves, the minute they hit the door. There isn't anyone to replace the RN. So I just wanted to make that statement.
Thank
I
you.
don't know if that means I'm up. Thank you.
Anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Weird side to be on. Anthony King from 435 Palisado Avenue. I have 2 points I'd just like to address to the board today. The first is to reference to some discussion and conversations from last month's meeting. I think it's pretty disturbing that there was conversation around censoring students in the classroom, especially students that we know have raised their hands and contributed to the community to create the Dub Hub and other newsletters like that. I think it's even more disturbing that censorship comes cloaked as directing children to avoid controversies. These are children that are bright and smart and educated and diverse, and diversity is a key pillar of this community. It's why a lot of people move here, and that includes diversity of opinions, and adults' political sensitivities should not enter into that. I feel very firmly about that. At one point even, the superintendent inspired me when he asked, "Are you even for Windsor?" And I honestly think as I walked out of that meeting, well, virtually, that's something every elected official in this town, including the board, should think about when they come to work. Like, what are we doing for Windsor? Which brings me to my second point. I'd like to rise and recognize the nomination of Tracy Zeiter to the vacant board seat. I've watched Tracy as an involved and dedicated parent committed to civic engagement. You saw her here today. And I think through her actions and the experiences I've had with her, she truly is someone that is for Windsor and really answers that bell. So I hope you guys come together today in what would be a very strong bipartisan demonstration and support her candidacy, her appointment rather. And I'm really excited to see her and how she works on the board and work with her in the future and my other endeavors. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Anyone else who'd like to address the board in the boardroom?
Becky Jacobson, 50 Lighthouse Hill Road. At last month's Board of Ed meeting, a robust discussion was had regarding student free speech and the spread of misinformation. At issue was a student saying in the morning broadcast that even though Donald Trump chooses not to celebrate Black History Month, we do not need his permission to do so, unquote. The crux of the discussion is something untrue was said on the DubHub broadcast. Paul Panos contends that it speaks poorly to the education of our student body and the education that our district provides. And yet, we have a president and Harvard and Yale educated people in the White House saying things that are easily and Googleably able to be proven wrong. I do believe this student committed an error. I also believe this is how this student felt because, as pointed out by Ms. Taylor, this White House administration is dismantling DEI programs and the Department of Education before all of our eyes. The censoring of academic discussions on race and sex-based discrimination, the abandoning of civil rights enforcement on behalf of historically marginalized groups, and the marshaling of federal power to ramp up right-wing attacks on equal opportunity initiatives, in addition to a normally easy-to-pass reauthorization of the Voting Rights Act, stalled in Congress, it certainly does not feel like Trump celebrates Black history. And so I will forgive a student for this error because it certainly does not feel like Donald Trump or his administration celebrates Black history. Indeed, they are systematically trying to erase it at every turn. All this to say, had I heard the original statement on DubHub firsthand, I would not have questioned it at all because this is exactly the narrative that is being pushed by this administration. While I believe President Trump has forever lowered the bar on what we can expect from the highest office holder in the land, and that indeed we should all aim to function on a higher intellectual and moral plane than the 47th President of the United States, unless you're going to hold President Trump to the same truth-speaking standards as the students and staff of Windsor Public Schools, it is only fair to attribute what was said on DubHub as an honest mistake. Paul Panos further stated of this matter regarding our students that it doesn't speak well of their education. Quote, "This has implications. Is there fear of speaking out? Are they intimidated to say something different? It incites towards hatred because they said Trump does not acknowledge Black History Month, and that has implications. Students get their information from adults, and the fact that no one pointed this out says that there is a certain amount of intimidation going on here, an implied fear here," unquote. To imply that Windsor Public Schools staff are pushing some pernicious liberal agenda on students shows a strong contempt for our teachers and for our staff, and for public education as a whole, which begs the question I have asked for some Board of Ed members over and over again: why are you here? Why can we not let teachers and educators do what they were hired to do? This implication also begs the question, do Board of Ed members think that our students are incapable of critical thinking? Are they insinuating that the students are simply receivers of the information they are fed, whether from teachers, social media, or even the government, and that they do not have the wherewithal to analyze this information themselves?
Please finish up your remarks.
This is another deep-rooted stereotype of Black and brown students who make up the majority of our student body, that they are incapable of deep thought, intellectualism, and critical thinking, which is exactly the reasoning used to deny them adequate education for years. Our students and educators deserve so much better than that.
Thank you. Anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Good evening. Trevor Tomko, 28 Spring Street. I'm just going to note that I am the least accomplished of the in our family and get that right off. But I am here to echo Anthony's comments about the nomination for Tracy Zotter for the board. I have known Tracy a very long time. I also note the bias, obviously. I am her fiance, so get that out of the way as well. I would just like to say that she has worked tirelessly already to talk to parents and the larger community about the budget, understanding the budget, and all of the good work that all of you do here and what the school system really does for the town. So I am here just to say, please consider her nomination for the board. I know she would be a fantastic asset. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else in the boardroom? Please give us your name and print your address.
Caitlin Craig, 30 Village Lane. I'm also here to say some nice words about Tracy Zotter. I have the pleasure of working with her with JFK PTO, and she's been an amazing addition to our team over there. Clearly, she spearheaded this entire composting project that the students just jumped in and took it head on, and thank you for having them here tonight as well. So she's a wonderful person. She believes in Windsor Public Schools. Her communication is fantastic. Her listening is amazing. The ability to troubleshoot anything that we have that comes up specifically with PTO, she's right there, front and forward, and really, really, I think she'd be an excellent asset to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the boardroom like to address the board?
Good evening. Nishette Blackburk, 41 Pierce Boulevard, Windsor, Connecticut. Sitting here as a proud parent, former PTO president, and what I want to say is that in 2015, I would go to Board of Education meetings, actually 2014, and would often hear concerns of other parents and would come and sit before the Board of Education. And in 2015, I had an opportunity as a parent to take a seat on the Board of Education. And tonight, it really does my heart well to know that another parent wants to step forward and take up the mantle of serving this wonderful town. And Tracy Zotter, we have the opportunity to be room parents together, if you want to call that. I think all of the parents in each of the classes consider themselves room parents because we take care of students within the classrooms. So just want to lend my support to a wonderful asset to the Board of Education in the person of Tracy Zotter. And again, that's what we want to see. Parents stepping up, stepping forward to ensure that Windsor continues to move forward for all of our students and for our community. So thank you so much. And I'm not sitting here as the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the boardroom who'd like to address the board? Seeing and hearing none, is there anyone online with a hand raised?
There are attendees online, but no one has their hand raised. There are no comments in either the chat or the Q&A.
Thank you. And without objection, close audience to visitor. Audience to visitor is closed. Next item on the agenda, number 4, is replacement for Board of Education member Anthony King. Is there a motion?
There is. I move the Board of Education elect Tracy Zotter to serve the remaining term of Anthony King or until the next general town election for members of the Board of Education.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion made by Ms. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Panos. Discussion, Ms. Taylor?
Okay, well, the mayor took some of my words, but that's okay. I, too, a parent PTO e-board member at JFK. It's a nice pipeline. What did Mr. Halleck say? JFK leads the way. Okay, I need that shirt. And for me, it was 2018 where I was appointed to the Board of Education. So it's interesting. I blink because my daughter was 11, now she's 18. And so it's very interesting how fast time goes by. But I have had the opportunity of knowing Tracy since high school, and nothing much has changed about her. She's authentic, she's a hard worker, she's a roll up her sleeves and obviously get dirty if need be kind of person. And I think she will do great in this space. We will certainly miss Mr. King, but we do understand that something about this caucus over here that has like a spiral to the Capitol or to the town council and all types of things. So we do need to build a better, an amazing pipeline, and we have built an amazing pipeline of folks, bringing folks in from the community. And Tracy's one of those people that I wholeheartedly give my endorsement for. So there's that.
Thank you. Anyone else like to make a comment?
I'll just
Mr. Panos.
just say that I've spoken with Ms. Zotter, and she obviously has the knowledge and the will and the capability to handle this job. She's she's seen the worst of it, right? And so if she still wants to be up here, she obviously deserves to be up
Wait,
here.
was she leaving? Wait a second.
And obviously, you know, she's going to be able to provide, you know, free vegetables for us.
Okay.
Too.
Hey.
So this will be a very interesting time. Thank you very much for presenting it.
Thank you. Mr. Wollaston?
Yeah, I was just, I wanted to say when Anthony was leaving, I was like, oh man, you know, we're taking another hit again. But within the short time that I've gotten to know you, and I just say I've learned very quickly that you are, sorry, Ms. Zotter, I'll speak to the board. Ms. Zotter is a diligent worker, and we see clearly here, she's willing to put in the work, and this is without a seat. So I'm very, very excited to see what will come, let she take this position here tonight.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Halleck, Mr. Lockhart, and then Ms. Cantor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Sutter, I just want to thank you for reaching out to us during this process. I read your emails, and to me, you seem very qualified, and obviously ready to roll up your sleeves, you know. And I'm sure you'll do everything that you said that you would do in those emails. So I do look forward to serving with you over the next few months. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lockhart?
I just want to say, we will miss Mr. King, but we hopefully welcome Ms. Zotter to the board. I've known her for a bit. I've known her work from behind the scenes. And I just want to thank this particular board for all engaging her. I believe she reached out to all of us and really just laid out whom she is and what she stands for. And I believe that was well received by all members of the board here. So I just want to just thank every member for just giving fair consideration to her ask for being on this board. And I look forward to working with her.
Thank you. Ms. Cantor?
Thank you. I had the opportunity to see you in action. You're a true winner. You don't quit, and you keep going on, and you come up with all kinds of resolutions and put forth all kinds of great things for the kids at the school and for the town itself. And I really look forward to you being on the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'm just going to say I'm also very excited. Anthony who? We hardly knew him. But I've gotten to know Tracy, and partially from coming to board meetings. And but myself, I was also a PTO president at Pequannock, Sage Park. Back then, it was PTSA, Parent Teacher Student Association, and president of the PTSA at Windsor High School. So it's a great way of knowing what's going on in the buildings by being active in those organizations. So I'm excited for that. So without further ado, I'd like to get a roll call vote. Motion been made by Ms. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Panos. Ms. Daly?
Jill Cantor,
Yes.
David Fury,
Yes.
Jeremy Halleck,
Oh, yes.
Leonard Lockhart,
Yes.
James Madison,
Yes.
Paul Panos,
Yes.
Ayanna Taylor,
Yes.
Nathan Wollaston,
Yes.
800.
Welcome, Tracy. At this time, I'd like our town clerk, Scott Nolan, to swear in Ms. Zotter so she can take a seat.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. President and members of the Board of Education. For those in the room who I haven't had a chance to meet yet, my name is Scott Nolan, and I have the privilege of serving as the town clerk for Windsor. One of those privileges is also administering the oath of office to all of our elected and appointed officials. I will do so at this time. You go ahead and raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Connecticut and the Charter of the Town of Windsor, and that you will faithfully discharge, according to law,
your duties as an elected official for the town of Windsor to the best of your ability, so help you God. So sworn. Very welcome. Congratulations.
Scott, thank you so much for
Thank you,
being here. I
Scott.
Yeah.
appreciate
My pleasure.
taking the time to come tonight. Yeah. Yeah, let's take it. Yeah. So she should be part of it. Yeah. We take the family picture first, and then we'll take the.
You want us? Okay.
No photo bomb, yeah.
All right, so we'll take a new board picture, guys, so if the board can step in front. Yes.
Excuse me.
Yeah, since it is a formal order, yeah.
Great, if you guys can just squeeze in just a bit.
Yeah, turn sideways, there you go.
All right, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. Awesome, thank
Thank you. Yeah.
And I am going to appoint Tracy to really take the different roles that Mr. King had. So that's Chair of the Long Range Planning Committee, to be on the Joint Board of Ed Town Council Committee, and liaison to the Youth Commission. Next item is item number 5, the consent agenda. Is there anything that needs to be pulled?
Financial report.
Okay, I'm going to pull the financial report. Anything else? Make a motion, Ms. Taylor.
Yep, I move the Board of Education approve the consent agenda items 5B, enrollment report, 5C, food service report, and 5D, human resources report.
Is there a second?
Second?
Motion made by Ms. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Panos, to accept 5B, enrollment report, 5C, food service report, and 5D, human resources report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstention, motion carries 9-0-0. Another motion, Ms. Taylor?
Yep, I move the Board of Education approve consent agenda item 5A, financial report.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion made by Ms. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Panos, to accept 5A, the financial report, and Mr. Panos.
Thank you. Ms. Batchelder, I see here, this is a very good presentation here, we had, could you explain then, let's go over the benefits again, it's a favorite topic. We have a balance in the negative of 1,018,000, et cetera, like this. Now, is this, in light of, could you clarify this? I think the presentation, the last meeting, or the last time we were talking about this, was that there was a $2 million in the whole thing. So it should have been 2 million. So could you explain why this is 1 million?
Sure. So the number that's in the budget for next school year is the 2 million. That's the projection from Lockton, our insurance broker, based on all of our claims. So that's where the 2 million comes from. So our current insurance fund that is combined with the town, we have been putting any additional monies in there that we have. So as I said, that I've, frozen the budget, any balance. So that negative is saying that I am going to take all of the excess funds from the remaining monies in every single line item and put that into the insurance fund at the town in order to hopefully end this school year even, because currently we are going, if you will, paycheck by paycheck, trying to pay our claims because our claims are so high. So every year we have a rollover. We're projecting to not have any monies to roll over, and we're already in the hole for this school year. And I don't know what claims are coming next week, but so the thought and what I've informed everyone this whole time is we froze the budget. Dr. Hill and I talked with Peter Souza and Jim Bork, looking at the insurance fund that we both hold, and separating it out by Board of Ed and town and what we've put in and what the claims have been. And any monies that the general fund can give to that insurance fund at year end this year. That was the plan, so we hopefully end even.
Right, I see here, you made it even by taking what is projected surplus, let's call that, I would say, from the instructional services area, right? You projected there that there would be an 8, a net, and other projected.
Right.
So I guess I just still don't quite understand why it's not 2 million, but, it's because that's what you were telling us. But you're saying you're projecting for next year that it will be 2 million. Is that the idea? Yeah,
Right, Lockton, our insurance broker, is saying that our claims overall is looking at about $13 to $14 million. And so what we currently have in there, what we currently budget for, that's why that $2 million increase is in next year's budget.
Okay.
In order to.
So this year it was really a 1 million. Is this year a $1 million in the hole?
So it's April 8th. I can give you a definite exact number after, as of.
No, you just do it, do the same thing next month, so.
Yeah,
We'll see.
but I won't have the year end because we don't get so when the bills come from, let's say, just make it easy, like the hospitals, if someone is in the hospital at the first week of May, we won't actually see that claim hit to take out of our bank account until like the end of July, sometimes the beginning of August. That's why it gets a little tricky, because it's just that lag time between when claims get processed at the hospital level to then the insurance level, and then they take it from our account.
So that would show up in your column here called projected expense, would it not?
As much as I can project, I don't know
May,
if someone's gonna
okay.
have a heart attack tomorrow. I don't know.
No,
That's what I'm saying. Like, I will have definite numbers on exactly how much the claims were probably by mid-July, early August. But I can tell you that what we've paid so far from the year to date, and then what we are projecting to be able to put in the insurance fund to end even.
Yeah, my point is, you do make a projection even if you don't have the bill, right? You say in May, something happens, someone goes to the hospital, and now that, I would imagine that's in your projected, just as you are projecting right now.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
This is not like a boiler blowing. I don't have a magical ball. Like, I can ask Carlos Rosario, our physical plant manager, like, what does our boilers look like? Are we, are they leaking? Are they, is one, not producing as much energy as another? I can actually assess that information better to give you a much better projection. I don't know what tomorrow brings when it comes to health claims. I can project salaries till the cows come home. I don't know what tomorrow brings for our health claims. So this is truly, it's a projection, but it's best guess. But I'm not saying that this is an absolute by any means.
Right, I'm not saying that you know exactly what the bill is. It's just that either you have a projection or you don't. That's all. And you have the insurance company that projects, and they're making a projection that there's going to be $2 million added for next year. So that is a projection. And so, all right. Thank you very much.
Mr. Lockhart.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. So that I think I'm clear, the bill comes every month, and it has no regards to a calendar year or fiscal calendar year. The bill is rolling every single month. So so next month, this 1 million could be more deeper in the red based off what you received at the point of making a report for next month. Is that correct? Yes. So, and it could be even worse for the June meeting as well. So it's just a rolling balance with the understanding based off of, I think what you told us is that the projections were made off of our previous history over the past year or 2 years, and then it went into some type of a science about it and made recommendation. At the end of the day, this bill has to be paid. It's not a if, it just has to be paid. It's required by law, and it requires for us to pull from other stuff. And unfortunately, it's just, this is probably the worst I've ever seen this on my time on the board. I've been on here 13 years, and we've had great claims year over year over year, and we've grown accustomed to it being flat and with no negative impact to the budget. And this is the first time I've seen it this bad. So the $2 million seems like it's for me, I look at it as escrow, where you're prepared, where the money's in the account, it's ready to go with the understanding. But you could also have we can be planning for it, and then you have a good profile year, and then you will run in the positive. So it's not what we can predict, it's just a matter of where we are, what path we're on right now. Is that for me to fairly understand it that way?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else on this item? Okay. Motion's been made to approve item 5A, the financial report. Motion was made by Ms. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Panos. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Abstention, motion carries 900. Next item is item number 6, approval of minutes. Is there a motion?
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the minutes of the March 18th, 2025 regular meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Lockhart, seconded by Mr. Panos. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstention, motion carries 900. Item number 7, student representative report. Ms. Khan?
Hi, good evening, everyone. So starting off my report, not a lot has happened since the last meeting at the school that I would really want to pull, but mainly like students have been taking tests and stuff like SATs, and mainly just preparing for upcoming events. Specifically, the nearest one is we have our first ever honor celebration on Friday, which basically is to celebrate all students who received honor roll recognition from semester 1. So they all get invited basically, and they're going to get recognized. And then we also have a lot more honor society recognitions coming up too. Our World Language Honor Society was supposed to be the 10th. It just got moved to the 23rd. And the day after that will be our National Honor Society induction ceremony and our Social Studies Honor Society, Rho Kappa, their induction ceremony as well. We also have our spring break next week for all the schools, of course. And, our music department will also be competing in different states instead of like previous years where we would be traveling to like the same state for a competition. I think band is going to Boston for a competition, and then choir will be traveling to New York and New Jersey. We have our AP exams coming up soon, so students are mainly preparing for that, and GSS as well. And then our music departments will be having their concerts, and we have an upcoming blood drive. I'm not sure about the date, but that's coming up. And I know junior prom tickets are being sold, not yet senior prom tickets. And we've also been having fundraisers and stuff for seniors' project graduation this year. We just had one this past Friday. I'm not sure about how it went because I was not there, but I hope it went well. And that's everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Khan? Wow, you get off early, easy this today. And as I've said before, you're welcome to stay, but you mentioned about AP exams and the like, so please feel free to go home. But if you go home, we're going to ask your mom if you went home to study. Next item on the agenda is the president's report. I'm going to start off with robotics. How surprising. Paragon Robotics completed the New England First District Championship this past weekend, really, kind of Thursday into Saturday. Our division ranking peaked as high as 10th. This is out of 48. There were 96 teams involved, but 48 broken up into two groups of 48. By the time the regular session was over, we were 15th with a record of 8 wins and 4 losses. Unfortunately, we weren't selected for the playoffs. And 24 teams got to be in the playoffs. We were ranked 15th, so we thought we're clearly going to be selected, but it doesn't always work that way. There's sometimes politics involved. Sometimes there's just teams that know other teams. They've been in other competitions and they know they may complement other teams. And there really weren't any alliance captains that were from Connecticut who might know us and known to have selected us. So it was a little disappointing to end. I really want to have a shout out, especially Teacher Appreciation Week, for Mr. John Gazakas, our advisor from Windsor High, who during the last 6 weeks between build and going to competitions, he's been at our build site late into the night. Unlike sport teams, we go to other teams and practice with them. We scrimmage with them. We help each other with this, something called gracious professionalism. You compete, but you help out other teams. And so we've been at Southington, who has quite an impressive field. They also have 60 kids on the team, and to South Windsor. And folks, other mentors from the team in South Windsor, the Bobcat Robotics, have come to our facility and helped us with some new equipment we had. So it was a great year. As you know, our middle and high school team, the Blazing Spirits, have qualified for the World Championship, and I think they've done enough fundraising, so they're all going. Again, I want to thank Ms. Taylor and Mr. Madison for sparking the idea of trying to highlight all the schools for innovative things they were doing. I know last year, we had Sage Park come in and talk about building thinking classrooms. And Mr. Madison was there quickly looking up what that was about as we spoke, and already could start talking fairly eloquently about it from what he read. But it said, hey, we need to talk about these things and share these ideas. The idea that JFK does want to share this with other schools is wonderful. That's what it's all about. We should find the best ideas we have and to be able to share them. Tomorrow night, Dr. Hill, Ms. Batchelder, Mr. Lockhart, and I will be presenting the board's budget to the council at 6:30 in Town Hall, at the Town Hall in Town Hall Chambers. I know in the news recently, they've talked about some ESSER funds being taken away in the state of Connecticut. And I believe there is a list out to that, and I can probably have our CABE president, who happens to be on the board here, speak to that if he knows anything more about that. But I believe the federal government initially had agreed to extend the ESSER time period, and I think that's what's being pulled back. But Windsor is not affected by that. Also, a shout out to Mr. Lockhart, who is now president-elect of the National School Board Association. So he is now president-elect, but we still have him for another year, not in that role. So that is my report. I guess I'll allow Mr. Lockhart privilege to elaborate on NSBA.
Thank you very much. Attended the conference this past weekend. It's been a humbling road to this point. I was seeking another position, and they told me, no, we don't want you for this position. We need you for this position. So it's humbling where a cross-section of this country saw fit to put me in leadership and to help guide us in a difficult time of public education in the country. So a lot of work ahead of me. Looking forward to working with all points of views, and it's really refreshing to work in a nonpartisan environment where you're just really focusing on the kids. So it's humbling, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity. I will be officially president of the organization leaving San Antonio in April 2026. So this is an open invite to Dr. Hill and the board that will be composed in November to come on down. I am not responsible for any cost.
On you.
I guess we can't look to Ms. Batchelder.
But what will happen is that there will be a very small celebration in San Antonio, but I've requested that the main celebration be brought back to Windsor and have it here for the state and have it in Windsor and to really put Windsor on the map with this. So I just want to thank this board and all the boards that I've served with since January of 2012. It's been great times. It's been difficult times, but it's, I believe iron sharpens iron, and this board has definitely prepared me for the CABE position, and clearly it has prepared me for NSBA to deal with the rigors of debate and to be able to handle and resolve situations. So just want to say thank you for Windsor, and thank you to Windsor, and thank you for allowing me to serve.
Thank you. Any questions for me on the president's report? We'll go now to the school liaison reports. First, Windsor High School, Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Khan covered quite a bit, so I won't repeat anything, but just a couple of things from Windsor High School. If you haven't received the link to the survey that the Windsor High School Governance Council has put out, please do. It's so short, it's so easy. They're trying to gauge parent feedback on block scheduling for accreditation, and it's something that kind of came up along the way there. So if you haven't done that, again, so easy. I did mine in between meetings one evening. So again, it's an easy thing to do. Try to get that in. And thank you to the governance council comprised of administrators, teachers, students, parents, and community individuals that came up with this survey. Again, we always get such amazing parents engagement, but we could always use more help there. I think that, you know, you see the PTOs, you know, when the kiddos are kind of younger, and then as the kids get older, it's hard to get that same engagement. So it's always so great to have parental engagement in that group. They're really awesome. So if you haven't done that, please do. Ms. Khan did mention Project Graduation. I'm always going to plug Project Graduation, even when I was not a mama of a senior. They need funds to do what we do. I did some history on Project Graduation. Did you know? It started in 1980. It's actually celebrated nationally, and what it does is it keeps our high school seniors after graduation safe, so that they don't go out and do what teenagers sometimes could do. So it's a safe space. It's held at the high school. When I was in high school, it was at the tennis club. Was it for you? Do you remember? Was it the high school for you? Okay, so I'm very old.
Yes.
You had yours where? No, well, it's at the high school. For class of 2025, and it's been there for a number of years, and it's awesome. It's, you know, you can volunteer, board members, I hope you can, will volunteer your time, but again, it keeps the students safe, so if you get flamingoed or flocked, open up the pouch. It's actually, you know, for you to support and, you know, and donate. When you see the signs on folks' yards that say, you know, congratulations, Chloe, congratulations, Warisha, that is parents donating money to get that sign. So we need more community support or in-kind donations for, you know, food and beverages. It's always nice to see the Kona icy truck outside that night. But I just want to keep plugging that because I think people are like missing the point and not knowing the history of why Project Graduation is so important. It's to keep the kids safe. So that's my report. I don't know if you have anything to add. Oh.
I mean, not much to add. Who do we reach out to flock somebody? I want to do it. So.
I'll make sure you're flocked first. And then what you do is you actually,
get me flocked.
It's a pay it forward. So I'm gonna make sure y'all flocked. Some folks are flocked, and it's fun. You see the flamingos all over your yard. The kids love moving it. You know, it's fun. So yeah, I'll make sure that you're flocked.
Any questions for Windsor High?
Yeah, I just want to say I've volunteered several times with this Project Graduation, even when my kids were not seniors. So I think I've probably done like 5, 6 times. And what I want to speak to is the security aspect of the event. And these educators and these security guards, they know the kids like it's no tomorrow. And there's kids that try to get in. There's kids that try to get in that's been expelled. There's kids that try to get in from other towns. There's people from Sage Park that try to get in. But they're very diligent about controlling the in and out. That red tile is probably the most secure place in Windsor during Project Graduation. It's very exhausting because it goes to about 3 in the morning, and if you sign up for that late shift and then try to go to work the next day, I strongly recommend you don't do it. I've tried it twice. I didn't learn the first time and paid for it the second time. But overall, I just want to thank the staff in advance for all the work that goes into that program. The kids have a lot of fun, and it's a very, very controlled environment with the transfer of the kids from point A to point B, especially if they want to leave early. I've seen it for myself, and I just hope everyone will find it in their heart to find some way to provide any type of support, whether it's volunteering your time. It doesn't cost anything to volunteer your time. They'll put you at places to man the doors, man some of the stations, man some of the gaming tables, making sure you're in strategic spots so they can't go into the unsecured areas of the building. That's a very good way on how they do it. And there's usually a lot of parents there. And more importantly, for me personally, I see a lot of fathers there. Definitely see a lot of fathers there. You know, the mothers do a lot of volunteering in this town, but it's a good time to see actually fathers, men, actually being within the building, working hand in hand with the staff. So it's a good time, and I would recommend, if you've never done it, you can hang out with me and we can talk politics all night while we support the kids.
Are you bringing wings for this guy?
Yes, wings, only wings. I'll bring him Mr. Pibb, since that's all you can get there.
Any other questions for Windsor High School? Sage Park, Mr. Panos.
Okay, there was, the upcoming stuff is, there started the 8th grade trip to Washington DC today, and we go through today through the 11th. April 25th will be Career Day. We'll be discussing careers, so we mentioned that before. April 30th will be the Cluster Expo, as to show what they learned, that they like to do, and so that'll be interesting. May 1st, of course, the SBAC testing begins, and so we'll also be doing iReady in May. At the PTO meeting of March 26th, Ms. Jorgensen presented the Sage Park Accountability Report. It was very interesting and thorough. She showed that they are moving in the right direction. They showed progress for closing the difference between them and the state average, which was between 2017-18 and 23-24 school year. It went from being 5 percentage points behind the state average to just being 1% behind. So on March 27th, the physical fitness testing for the state accountability began. So they were all feeling pretty tired because I guess they try to encourage the kids, but so the teachers get up and try to do the exercises. They also said, PTO said that they had around half of the students of the school are registered for the readathon, they call it, and they already had around 104 students that had reported their minutes, started on Friday, March 21st. So that's my report. Thank you.
Tracy, probably you've just been seated, so next month, hopefully you'll connect with Ms. Jorgensen and.
I actually was at the PTO meeting that Mr.
Oh.
Panos was talking about.
Hey,
So we were able to have some fantastic dialogue around some of the amazing work that they have done at Sage Park as it comes to their accountability scores. Ms. Jorgensen was so knowledgeable, so really want to thank her for the very robust presentation that she gave. She also did a comparison to some of the schools that maybe Windsor gets compared to often, and I was very happy to see from a Sage Park lens, they are not far off. We're talking like 2 points. And the efforts that they're putting into helping those 6th grade students that might be struggling a little bit when they get in to kind of find their footing is really extraordinary. So I was so very impressed in my first time sitting with Mrs. Jorgensen, amazed with the amount of data that she had to provide, and again, their fitness-a-thon. Absolutely love how the teachers get so involved, because one of the areas that they needed to improve upon on their accountability scoring was their physical education. So the teachers, the phys ed teachers came together and said, we want to make this a whole week thing. I mean, they had teachers roller skating out there. So what a way to engage our students. This is the phenomenal leadership that we have in Windsor Public Schools. So it's so nice to see curriculum paired with passion to make sure that our students are engaged and moving in the right direction. So it was a great meeting. Thank you, Mr. Panos, for letting me sit in the conversation afterward, and just really, really impressed with how Sage Park has continued to move forward, especially in our testing.
Thank you. Any questions for Sage Park? We now have Clover Street School, Mr. Madison.
Thank you. March 27th was STEM night. April 24th and 25th is going to be the Aquatic Clover Fun Run. Kickoff is happening now, 4748. 428 is the orchestra concert, and then May 2nd will be the band and chorus concert.
Any questions for Clover? Next, John F. Kennedy School, Ms. Cantor.
Thank you. Last night was the PTO meeting. There was a great introduction given about Sage Park for the parents of students who are being promoted to sixth grade. It was very informative. Today was the grade 3 science showcase. Monday, April 14th through April 18th is spring break. Don't send your child to school or children. And April 25th is the grade 5 yard goat field trip. And the 29th is grade 5 pictures. And May 6th is the early dismissal. And May 9th is Cookies Community and Connecting for FRC. And then on Monday, May 12th, from 6 p.m. to 7:30 is an art show. And the next PTO meeting is from 6 to 7 that same day. And that's it.
Thank you. Any questions for JFK? Okay, we'll move on to Oliver Ellsworth School, Mr. Lockhart.
I have no report this month, and I just want to wish staff and students a safe and restful spring break.
Thank you. Aquatic School, Mr. Halleck.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last night was the Pequannock PTO meeting. I attended virtually. The Pequannock, there's many great things going on right now at Pequannock School. The Pequannock Easter egg hunt is coming up next Friday, April 18th. The egg hunt is going to start at 10 a.m. at the playground there. It's free admission, but they're asking you folks to bring a non-perishable food item for the food bank. It's a great time for the kids. They'll be able to take pictures with the Easter Bunny as well. I'm actually going to be the Easter Bunny once again this year. So, sorry.
Kids are watching.
How did you get upgraded? It's not the traditional Easter Bunny.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a one-off.
But the Easter Bunny will be there.
He's a friend.
It's always, he's definitely a real good friend, and it's a hopping good time, right? So, the Pequannock family survey is open right now. It's going to continue to be open through Thursday, April 17th. So if you haven't completed that survey yet, please do if you're a Pequannock family. The Pequannock and Clover Fun Run is a fundraiser, has also begun. That began yesterday. Together, Clover and Pequannock are looking to raise $20,000 towards the end of the year celebration. So let's support them in that. The event day for the fun run is April 25th. You can, and there's going to be more information on this event posted on the Pequannock PTO Facebook page as well. So please stay tuned for that as well. The teacher appreciation breakfast is going to be on May 1st at 8 a.m. I'm going to do my best to stop in for that as well. The next PTO meeting is going to be on Monday, May 5th. Tuesday, May 6th is a teacher professional development day. There will be early dismissal. And Monday, May 19th will be spring strings concert. And then Wednesday, May 21st is a field day as well. So, like I said, a lot of great stuff going on at Pequannock, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions regarding Pequannock? Okay. Next item on the agenda, item 8C, is setting the last day of school for 2024-2025. I'm looking for a motion.
Mr. President, I move the Board of Education approve a change to their approved 2024-2025 calendar, setting Monday, June 9th, 2025, as the last day of school for students in grades pre-kindergarten to grade 11, and the last day of for teachers would be Tuesday, June 10th, 2025.
Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Motion made by Ms. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Panos. Any discussion? I guess I'll ask Ms. Batchelder, what was the change from this? What was the original date?
The original date was that Friday.
Okay.
And then because it was 2 snow days,
Okay.
it had extended 2 days. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I do.
Ms. Taylor?
Move it back, move it back, move it back. The babies need to stay. I'm so sorry. I'm just kidding. This is bittersweet, but yes, okay. Thank you.
Motion made by Ms. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Panos. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Abstentions? Motion carries 900. Item 8D is the healthy food certification, and I think we usually do this in 2 separate motions. So once take motion number 1.
Okay, I, pursuant to Connecticut General Statute Section 10-215F, the Windsor Public Schools Board of Education certifies that all food items offered for sale to students in the schools under its jurisdiction and not exempted from the Connecticut nutrition standards published by the State of Connecticut State Department of Education will comply with the Connecticut nutrition standards during the period of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. This certification shall include all food offered for sale to students separately from reimbursable meals at all times from all sources, including but not limited to school stores, vending machines, school cafeterias, and any fundraising activities on school premises sponsored by the school or non-school organizations and groups.
Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Motion made by Ms. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Panos, and looking to Ms. Batchelder. Any kind of description?
So we've been doing this for many, many years, so this is part of our culture here in Windsor, and it's a very good.
And this is
obviously.
required.
If we want it, if we want the funds, it's absolutely required.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Mr. Panos?
Does this very nourishing food have anything to do with the large amount of disposed of food from the cafeteria? You don't have to answer that.
On advice of counsel, you shouldn't answer that. Okay.
We're going to vote on it.
Yeah. Motion being made by Ms. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Panos. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstention, motion carries 900. Ms. Taylor, I'll recognize you again.
Motion 2. The Windsor Board of Education or governing authority will allow the sale to students of food items that do not meet the Connecticut nutritional standards and beverages not listed on Section 10-22(1)Q of the Connecticut General Statutes, provided that the following conditions are met. 1, the sale is in connection with an event occurring after the end of the regular school day or on the weekend. 2, the sale is at the location of the event. And 3, the food and beverage items are not sold from a vending machine or school store. An event is an occurrence that involves more than just a regularly scheduled practice, meeting, or extracurricular activity. The regular school day is the period from midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the official school day. Location means where the event is being held and must be the same place as the food and beverage sales.
Second motion.
Motion been made by Ms. Taylor.
I'll second it. Yep.
By Mr. Panos. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
So people ask me about this one all the time because I'm the concessions mom for volleyball and for basketball. And so this is the reason why this is done into two motions. It's so important for people to understand that, because yes, we do sell chips. But this is why it's done into two motions. Just want to clarify that.
I appreciate that. Any other questions or comments? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstention, motion carries 900. Next item has to do with the residency report and looking for a motion. Flip side.
It's information on this.
Information only.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that was information only on the residency report? And- No, I think we're gonna. If he's got, yeah. Is there any questions for? Okay, yeah.
Call Kelvin Kears.
Sorry, I came in from a track and field meeting.
Yeah, I guess you're tired.
Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening.
So, below's a list, if you have, you should have in front of you a list of the completed investigation from August 24 to March of this year. Currently, I have 15 open investigations. Actually, that's one just closed today with a letter removing a child, which is not listed here. The list also doesn't include several self-initiated investigations which a parent or guardian remove his or her student due to a phone call or visit without a written letter to remove that student. A total of 178 students left the district since the beginning of the school in August 24. There were at least 10 students who lived out of district whose parents moved them without me having to write a letter. Several parents were able to remain in the district by legally changing their living arrangements. I would say this year more than any other since I've been in this position. People really want to stay in town, giving up guardianship. We just had family with 4 kids just do that this past week. Was I at 12 investigations? We had 2 removals. Sage Park, 8 investigations, 2 removals. Pequannock School, 3 investigations, no removals, although those are still under investigation, and I think at least 2. If they're not removed by the end of this year, probably won't be back next year. Oliver Ellsworth, 2 investigations, 1 removal. The other is still under investigation. Clover Street School, 2 investigations, 1 removal. That other is still under investigation. John F. Kennedy, 4 investigations, 1 removal. They do have another investigation, 1 that's still under investigation. Outplay students, 5 investigations, 0 removals. Total 36 investigations, total removals so far 6. Certificate of residency. Currently, we have 325 students on certificates of residency. No removals were on certificate of residency, although 2 people got on a certificate of residency as a result of investigation. Certificate of residency forms are reviewed yearly in early fall. So, respectfully submitted.
Any questions?
You have any idea, excuse me,
Mr. Panos.
sorry. how many, in other districts like Bloomfield or whatever it would be, or would have a certificate of residencies? Do you have any, you've
I
never
know how
seen anything
many.
like that? Yeah.
I've never called them and asked how many.
Okay.
We did get some kids back here from Bloomfield that they were going to Bloomfield School, but they lived here in Windsor. They came back. I didn't investigate them. Arthur Jasper, who used to work for Windsor PD, did that over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, well, are most of them then just like it's just a family, it's just a, like let's say a divorce or something like this, and
Some of them are family members, like mother, father, a lot, brother, sister, uncle, aunt, grandparent, great-grandparents.
that own the house, you mean? That,
They own the house. There's another thing, too. We've had people with multiple residences where they own a home in Windsor, Bloomfield, Enfield, and they literally, you can follow them to every single one of them. I don't know how they do it, why, but that's what they're doing. They own the house. They use it as they please. It's interesting. I'll just say that.
well, a lot of wealthy people around here, huh?
I don't know if they're wealthy, but they own 3 homes.
Yeah, but of course they have to reside here, right?
But
yeah.
see, I can follow them today, and they here. I can follow them tomorrow, and they in Enfield. I follow them the next day. Again, I've not been able to figure out why people do that. I don't even try to, but they doing it.
They're shopping for the best school system? Is that it?
I have no idea. It's interesting. I just leave it at that.
Thank you.
Anyone else with questions? Ms. Taylor?
Thank you so much. I always want to call you Officer Kears. I always want to call you Captain. Dr. Kears.
That's my brother. Hey, soon to be my daughter.
Oh, I know that's right. Yes.
Later on this month.
Oh, I love
Going out in Florida.
I appreciate this. I appreciate the question that Mr. Panos brings forward every year, and we all decided, yeah, we should probably do this like every year around this time of the year. You're the best to do it. The reason why, people just don't even mess with it, they get that letter and they don't want to go any further with it, because I wouldn't want to go any further with it if you were in my yard asking, do I live somewhere? I don't know. I might get confused and say I don't. But I really appreciate that this is something that the district has decided to prioritize. I know other districts have asked me what we do, and I said, we have someone that you could never take from us, so don't try. But I do have a question. Has Mr. Panos gone on the ride-along that you asked him to come on last year?
But I can share
All right, I'm going to have to take you up on this.
I really want you to. My daughter came with me. Actually, she was home visiting, and I brought her with me. And what she said is interesting to hear from another person's point of view. After we went to 2 houses, and it was dark, she's like, Daddy, why do these people let you in? I wouldn't let you in. And I looked at the house, and she's like, I wouldn't go to these people's houses. Some of them, they have a dog in the yard. They're not that happy for me. I just say that somewhere. And I don't blame them, because it's somewhat intrusive. But most people, I mean, look at y'all. Y'all here. If I went to y'all house now, y'all not home.
Right.
Some of y'all left y'all houses, like Dr. Hill did this morning at 30. He ain't there. So you like, they don't live there, they ain't home. No, I gotta wait. Except my boss won't let me. I'll come after 9:30 and go visit. But some people, if you say like, hey, I don't get home till whatever, I'm like, well, what time is that? They said, what time you get off? I said, what time you get home? Whatever time you get home, that's what time I get off. And then they complained that I came after 10. You told me you got off after 10. So that kind of stuff. But people are usually not home when we're at work. So I have to either go in the evening, I have to go on the weekend, so.
Thank you. Yeah, take him up on that. You should go on a ride-along.
I really want to bring them. And I'm bringing them to the houses with the biggest, I'm bringing them to the, I see him walking all the time. But them houses with them big dogs, he ain't getting away.
That's a show. That's a show right there. Him riding along with you to do this whole thing. I'm just saying.
I want the video.
You'll get the video. That'd be fine.
Any other questions or comments? Mr. Halleck?
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Mr. Chris, for coming tonight. Really appreciate it. I just had a question regarding, it says here that you have several investigations planned for the fall, and I'm just kind of wondering, you know, why we're not doing that right now or during the summer, or?
Well, because what's happening is people are, like I mentioned, people have multiple residents, and they can be innovative and like you'll go, because people have babysitters. So you might follow them from point A to point B. You know, okay, I followed you to this town. You don't live in. Oh no, that's where they get babysat. Then you go to their house. Sure enough, the kid got a whole bedroom at home, and it might be legit. Oftentimes it is, most times it is, but sometimes it's just something about some of these. My feeling is, and next week is going to be good because next week is vacation week. So unless they going away on vacation week, kids going to be home.
That's fair. You know, how do you keep yourself safe through I just want to make sure that you're staying safe as well.
How do I keep myself safe?
Yeah. You go with somebody else, or?
I don't go with anyone else.
You scared?
I take care of myself. I for years I taught safety. I still teach police classes now, by the way, but it's I feel safe. I don't feel unsafe.
Fair enough. So how is it determined when a student has left the district? Do they have to be determined that they're out for a certain amount of days, or how does that work?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
When do you decide, like, a student has picked up and left the district? Like, do they have to be out for a certain amount of time, or do you follow up on that, or how does
You
that
mean once they leave?
Yeah.
Well, we have kids, for instance, the Fleeting, say for instance, it was right here, Mr. Fleeting. They'll have a kid that's not coming to school. And they'll say, can we go do a home visit? Something like that. And oftentimes, or sometimes, those kids have made a decision to parent, they're not coming back to school. And so either we'll give them paperwork for them to withdraw, or we're trying to figure out where he or she is and why they aren't coming to school. And sometimes some of them have simply moved. They just didn't tell us. And I don't count that as being, I mean, that's like a free meet. It's like, I don't count that. They just gone. So they in that 178. I didn't really do anything. We just went to visit and they don't live there anymore. Or we go, they live there, they just not coming to school. Which those numbers, I don't have them, but it just seems to me just for sort of like anecdotally, like since COVID, like people just stop coming to school and they don't come. Like really, we have a lot of people, and I know this, again, from I do talk to people about this because my wife teaches in Hartford. Kids just don't show up at school. And just by the way, when she have kids, you know how teachers have to call kids? I have to go with her to visit because she don't feel safe, and I'm not letting that happen. I go with her to visit places in Hartford all the time.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time and everything that you do. I appreciate it.
Yes. Any other questions or comments? Yes, thank you very much, and I echo Ms. Taylor's thought that please stay in Windsor.
Hey, what the heck? You don't have no more questions? I'm like, I don't even know what to do. Like, I can go. Take care.
Next item on the agenda is Agenda Item 9, the Superintendent's Report.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I'd like to announce that we have announced our new Para of the Year. So Danielle Franklin from Pequannock School has been chosen as the district's Paraeducator of the Year. For 11 years, Ms. Franklin has been a guiding light at Windsor Public Schools, dedicating the last 8 years at Pequannock Elementary. Her compassion, patience, and commitment to building strong relationships with students, families, and colleagues make a lasting impact every day. From helping students find their confidence to fostering independence, she embodies what it means to be an exceptional paraeducator. Join us in congratulating Ms. Franklin on this well-deserved recognition. Our incredible Windsor Warriors had an outstanding winter season, both on and off the field and the courts, from all state and all conference honors to academic excellence and postseason success. Our student athletes continue to show that we are Windsor. We just saw Coach Kearse, and it took me a lot of years to get rid of the captain too, but it's Coach Kearse, right? So the track team, boys and girls track team, continue to be a dominant force in New England. And we're looking forward to seeing their success this outdoor season. Spring break will be Monday, April 14th through Friday, April 18th. Offices will be open with the exception of Friday, April 18th, which is Good Friday. Next coffee talk will be on Wednesday, April 23rd at 5:30 p.m. in this boardroom here. Please visit the district website to register for the event. And May 5 through 9 is Teacher Appreciation Week. Teachers in the district will be treated to a special breakfast on their behalf at their respective schools. And I know board members are looking forward to that breakfast. Okay, just save me a sandwich, Mr. Lockhart, that's all, just one sandwich, okay? So, at this time, we have a guest, and I don't want to keep the guest waiting longer, but we've had questions about our American Studies ECE course. So I took the liberty of inviting Mr. Christopher Todd to come to us to just explain. He can introduce himself further. I'll just introduce him as a former teacher at Windsor High School and been knowing this young man for a long time.
I'll take young. Evening, everyone. Chris Todd, Executive Director of the Office of Early College Programs at the University of Connecticut. Longtime Windsor High School teacher, longtime blackjack dealer at Project Safegrad. I agree with Mr. Lockhart, so working all night and then teaching the next day is not the best idea, but it's a ton of fun. So I'm here. Obviously, I can talk about the partnership that Windsor Public Schools and Windsor High School have with the UConn ECE program in general. But I think I'm here to address some lingering concerns or questions regarding the American Studies course and the curriculum and sort of the relationship between the school system, the course, and how that plays out.
Now, would you describe the American Studies course with regard to I don't know if you've spoken about this, but the scope of the history covered by the regular the U.S. history course, which I think the latest update was in 2023 here. Before that, I guess it was 2015 they had, and what is covered under the American Studies course.
Sure.
Because, may I just ask as a clarification, it's my understanding that this can be used as a substitute for the required U.S. history course, as well as English 11. Is that correct?
So before I let Mr. Todd explains the, ECE history component, I just want to make sure that all of you are aware. So the state of Connecticut does not have a social studies graduation requirement other than civics. So the U.S. history class is our course that we ask kids to take. It is not a graduation requirement. Also, I want all of you to be aware that the state of Connecticut has a set of standards that we use to build our courses around. And the standards are actually not even required, they're recommended standards. So just so that we're all on the same page. So the only requirement for social studies is civics, and that's it, as far as the state is concerned. Anything else is what we choose to adopt, what we choose to add in our curricula, which is, if it's an ECE course, it's approved by UConn. If it's an in-house U.S. history course, it has been approved by the board, actually in May. I think we have a curriculum meeting in May, and we're bringing a U.S. history course revisions and updates.
Okay, but it is still a requirement we have for our graduation to have a U.S. history course.
Right, but we also, you guys voted to add this ECE course, and it could be taken in place of U.S. history. So that was in a program of study that you guys approved.
I realize that. That's the question. Is it equivalent? That's my question. And you know, it's just my information. It's information for those board members who are interested to find out whether it is approximately the same. That's all. I mean, after all, we have two teachers, and this is basically two courses. But as Mr. Todd has explained, this is at UConn. This is its own separate department. It's a blended course. Maybe you can explain that.
Sure, and I think, so Mr. Panos, to your question, you asked kind of a couple different questions. So I think first and foremost, to talk a little bit about what options are available for 11th graders at Windsor High School is important to kind of set that standard. I can't obviously speak to any revisions to U.S. history that are forthcoming, but I was part of the 2015 curriculum committee that rewrote the U.S. history curriculum that currently is in place. I think we also rewrote it in 2012 and 2008. So given, you know, all the changes that took place in U.S. history. So 11th graders at Windsor High School really have three options. They have the traditional U.S. history class, which in a lot of ways is considered a modern U.S. history course. So it covers really the rise of big business, 1880s through the current era. They have AP U.S. history, which is a topical survey class that starts with the kind of colonialization of the New World and the founding era all the way up through usually Reagan, 1980s. And then the new course that's available is an American Studies course. So it's at UConn, it's American Studies 1201, Introduction to American Studies. And that course is structured a little bit differently than you would see for a typical history class. So American Studies is an interdisciplinary humanities course. The department at the University of Connecticut is staffed by faculty from the history department, from the English department, from the economics department, from the maritime studies department, and a number of other departments at the university that all bring their expertise to the American Studies program. So really what it is it's an opportunity for students to get a better understanding of the American experience. And they do that by leveraging the expertise of a history teacher and deep diving into certain areas of content. And they also build that out with an English educator and using literature, works of arts, primary sources, secondary sources to really build that picture in a holistic manner. So when Mr. Panos and I talked on the phone, what I was trying to explain is it's not a history class in the typical sense, and it's not an English class in this typical sense. It is truly a blended interdisciplinary humanities course. At the University of Connecticut, students can use it to count for either English or history, depending on how they're leveraging the course to work through. How that's used at the district and at the local level is entirely up to the purview of this board. Given that it's two instructors, a certified English teacher and a certified history teacher, given that it consumes 2 blocks of a student's experience, it makes sense that students would get credit for both history and for English for the course.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, I don't have a problem with giving history credit or English credit, but however, I'm not sure that I would say that it is equivalent to at least the history course as it was, because it does not cover. It's about a third of the material is not covered. It begins with the First World War.
It starts with sort of the Civil War. I think that what you have to keep in mind is that would be saying that AP U.S. History isn't comparable to Honors U.S. History because Honors U.S. History is really only looking at the 20th century, whereas AP is covering the entirety of U.S. history within the same time and within the same given year. So I think the way you have to think about it is they both cover an equal amount of content. They're just doing it in a different manner. So you're looking at a history class in terms of the breadth of topics that they cover versus the depth that the course has to have. So AP U.S. History, the instructor is covering a chapter a week to get through the breadth of U.S. history. It's very topical. They don't spend a lot of time on an extensive amount of primary source documents other than those documents which the instructor or the College Board may deem necessary in order to be successful on the test. The Honors U.S. History class, again, the teacher is gonna pull snippets of various sections of history. So you might pull an excerpt from The Great Gatsby when you're talking about the 1920s, but you're not really gonna deep dive into the literature of that era when you're speaking about it. Whereas the American Studies course, while they may bounce around U.S. history in terms of their overall topics, those topics that they do cover, they go much deeper than a student would ever experience with either the AP U.S. History class or the Honors course.
Okay, well, according to the description that I have here, it begins, when do we cover the period, the Gilded Age, for example?
Well, you would be covering the Gilded Age during Power and Persuasion, which is the historical content on the Gilded Age. And then it has choice readings, text, social commentary project, and that typically happens in November. And then it goes to World War I. It goes through the 1920s with F. Scott Fitzgerald, through the Great Depression. I mean, in a lot of ways, what it does is it takes the primary topics of the Honors U.S. History course that Windsor had. It goes a little bit further back in terms of the Civil War, Manifest Destiny, and states' rights, which you typically wouldn't get in the Honors U.S. History course. And then it deep dives into each of these topics with a primary literary text to support it. Okay. So I have the UConn approved syllabi here, which is the American Studies, and then what you might be looking at is the primary source readers.
Well, I have the outline. I have everything that was sent to me, and that's what I'm basing this on. I just look at this and it says, here's the outline. And so all I can say is, it just begins, say, the American Studies outline, the history part of it. They just
do you have
jump
this,
around.
Mr. Panos?
Yeah.
Do you have
right.
The approved syllabi for the class, or do you just have the primary and literary source outline?
The syllabus.
We provided both. We provided the syllabus that was approved by UConn, and we also provided the list of sources.
Okay, was that
and just to also clarify, the list of primary sources or the literary sources and the outline exceeds whatever a faculty member at the University of Connecticut would have to provide in terms of documentation for the course. So our American Studies faculty coordinators reviewed both the syllabi and the additional primary and literary sources and felt that it exceeded anything that they would see at the University of Connecticut in terms of rigor and expectations for the course.
Well, okay, I have the outline is what I have. This is what I have, 5 pages of outline, and I just didn't, I just didn't see that as, what it had was World War II, Korea War, Civil Rights Movement, Vietnam War, maybe. Okay. Well, let me look at this then. I don't know. I didn't. I don't think I received this.
That was the very first document, because that's the syllabus that is approved by UConn. That is the first thing and the only thing we really had a long time ago when we started that conversation. And then because of all the different requests, we had teachers go in and create this list that Mr. Todd is saying that it's more than what's required. So we created this based on the request, but this is the only actually document that we had initially when this conversation started. So it was emailed last year, actually.
In order for Mr. Pascal and for Mr. Hooley to get approved, they have to apply, they have to have comparable academic backgrounds, and course syllabi and grading philosophies to the department on campus. They essentially get approved to be affiliate instructors of the American Studies Department in order to offer the course at Windsor High School.
And can I, just going back to your equivalent statement, if this course is equivalent to U.S. history, I think you're looking at the classes. So this is exactly as if you're saying, so for example, our juniors, they can take, for science, they can take chemistry, physics, or anatomy. So this is exactly the same as is chemistry equivalent to physics. It's not. So the courses are not, they probably have a lot of common content, but they might not be equivalent, and that is the decision that we've made and you voted on, is that we're going to allow it to be one of the options that students can take as juniors for their social studies graduation requirement. So it might not be equivalent, but it is an option that we have decided that it is worth providing students. They can choose either U.S. history or American studies.
No, I realize that.
Yeah,
That
so
part is.
it's just to answer if they are equivalent or not.
But it seemed like it was more run, let's say that it was driven by the literature part of it. That's.
Yeah, I think as we discussed on the phone, what I love about the American Studies class is it gives the opportunity for students to really deep dive into a piece of literature with a historical context that they wouldn't get in an English class. So they're getting the historical context, they're getting more background, they're getting the ability to then take that, apply it to the novel or apply it to the piece of literature that they're reading, and then really see sort of the impact and the cultural implications of both literary works and historical context that's happening at the same time. So when they look at things they carried, they're not just reading it as a text about the Vietnam War. They're able to really take what that novel is about, which is serving in the conflict, coming home, grappling with all the baggage that veteran carried with him, and then understanding how it fits in the larger context of what's going on in the United States. Whereas in most instances, in an American literature class, you'd cover the book, you'd talk about the perspectives of the author, you talk about the perspectives of the various characters within the book, maybe bring in a couple quick references to what's going on in American society, whereas this class really builds the history component around that. So when you're reading Hemingway and Farewell to Arms, you get a better understanding of the frustration at the end of the novel that Hemingway is trying to portray as a World War I veteran, recognizing that the death, the destruction, everything that he witnessed, to then come back to a society that didn't necessarily appreciate what that sacrifice was about, right? The Great Gatsby, like the looking at the 1920s, looking at consumerism and the impact that had. So I think the course does something that your honors U.S. history or college prep U.S. history can't do, where we would try, like Mr. Toppinser, Mr. Rao, myself, everybody that's in that social studies department, past and present, would pull in excerpts from all of these texts, but we didn't have the curriculum space to allow us to really deep dive into that. And we leaned really heavily on our English colleagues to be able to say, if you're covering this at this time of the year, can we sort of match it up or align it with what's going on in our U.S. history conversations, so that at least the students were getting sort of the historical piece of it, and then in English class they were getting the text. And what this course does is it really allows the two to happen simultaneously. So you have a history and social studies teacher that's teaching the historical context, and you've got Mr. Hooley as the English educator who's really walking the students through the text of that era and about that era. And so I think it's sort of the perfect blending of those two humanities courses for students to really get a true understanding of American culture at the time. But to your point, it is not, like, you can't look at it as a, like, traditional U.S. history class. No differently than you couldn't look at a course at the university that focuses specifically on, say, the Cold War, or focuses specifically on war and conflict, because it's going to pull out all of those other pieces. It's just going to focus in on that topic. And the American Studies class really tries to blend those two together so that you do have an understanding of themes that have shifted over time, over the century, that have really shaped what we are as a nation and who we are as a people, and how literary works and historical events tie together to make that happen.
Okay, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Ms. Sauter,
I'm going to make this quick because I missed the previous conversations around this. So just two clarifying questions. So you had mentioned that this takes 2 blocks. What is that? Is like a typical U.S. history 1 block and this is 2?
So typical U.S. history would be 1 block. A typical English course would be 1 block. And I'm going to turn to our central office colleagues to better answer it. But in order for it to run with the University of Connecticut, you have to have an instructor that meets the qualifications both in the historical side and the English side. So currently we have 18 partner schools that run this class. The majority of them co-teach the course, where it's a history teacher and an English teacher working together on that.
Okay, so to clarify, it's not like you're trying to cram all of this into the same amount of time you would in like a different, more focused history class. It expands a little bit longer so they have more time to go deeper into the topics.
So it's a regular history class would be 1 block, which is 1 credit. They meet every other day the whole year. This class meets every day, so it's 2 blocks. It's 2 credits. So they get to do the social studies credit, which is 1, and then they also get to have the English credit, which is 1. So it's kind of double the time because we do have 2 certified teachers. So we are able to provide kids with 2 credits, 1 for social studies to meet that graduation requirement and 1 for English 11 to meet that graduation requirement.
Okay, so, because I'm trying to hear Mr. Panos and what his concern is about like not being able to cover as much, but it seems like because it's an extended period of time, there's more time to teach a similar time frame, but to have the depth of the history. Okay, I just wanted to make that clarification. Thank you.
any other questions? Mr. Wollaston?
Yes, I just want to say, sitting here, this has been an extremely interesting conversation. I feel like you've sold me on the course. Like I could just walk in and sit down and take it myself. But regardless of that, I never had you when I was at Windsor High. I graduated 2016, but I will say I did hear people rant and rave about your name a lot. And sitting here in this room, no, seriously, and sitting here in this room and listen to you speak passionately about the subject and just the outline of the course, I can see why that they enjoyed your class.
Look, Windsor is my first and only professional home. So I may have Husky Blue on, but at the end of the day, I'll always be a Windsor Warrior. So again, I think, I'm happy to come. I'm happy to talk about this. I'm happy to talk about other opportunities with the UConn ECE program. At the end of the day, it's really about what opportunities Windsor Public School students have and what opportunities Windsor High School can afford the community. So, I know earlier in the meeting, people talked about, are you here for Windsor? I'm here for Windsor. So what you need, what we can do as a program to partner with you, I'm happy to provide that. So, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I want to thank you very much for being here and staying here. Also to acknowledge you as former Teacher of the Year in Windsor as well.
Thanks.
And, often see you at our CAPS convention.
Our annual reconnects, so.
While seeing you when you were at the state.
Yep.
So.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your continued partnership. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Todd. Appreciate it.
Back to you, Dr. Hill.
Well, that was it for me, unless there are questions in terms of
Any
superintendent's report.
questions for Dr. Hill?
Nope.
In his report?
Thank you.
Ms. Cantor.
Thank you. I have a question. You said you attended in your update the Alliance District Symposium. How will this be useful to Windsor Public High Schools to increase their math scores? Because it was all about math.
Oh, thank you so much. And we're going to have Dr. Haiti tell you.
Pass the buck.
It was really I think a couple of things. So the partnerships and just, being in a room with 36 other districts and having these conversations around what different districts are doing is one thing. And then the major focus of this whole symposium was really about how we teach math and this whole idea of teaching for conceptual understanding and bringing the teaching of math back to to making it fun for kids where they actually understand what's happening versus just memorizing different models or memorizing different formulas. So, the keynote speaker really talked about how it all boils down to relationship between numbers and to, the simplest math concepts is how everything else is built upon. We also had a lot of there's a teacher residency program, I think it's in collaboration with UConn, where teachers are doing research projects around different concepts. So building thinking classroom was a couple of the posters that we went around and had teachers explain to us the research around building thinking classroom and how it works in their classes and what kind of impact they have seen on student performance using that model. So it was really it wasn't for us to it was for us to really see what other teachers and other districts are doing differently. We had a whole team, so we had our high school principal, our middle school principal, myself and Dr. Hill, Miss Dr. Feynman, and our STEM supervisor from the high school, so that was our team. And we had a lot of conversation around, we are embarking upon a journey of looking into different math programs, K-8, that we are starting to look at what's out there, realizing that what we currently have might not be the best for our students because of, obviously, we're always looking at our scores, looking at, what we do in a classroom, and is it giving us what we're really intending as student performance is concerned. So we have gotten a lot of different ideas from other districts, which programs they use. And we have a whole plan of how we're going to start looking into different pilots. We just actually yesterday sent out a survey to all math teachers in the district, asking them their feedback on different components of our current curriculum and things that they would like to see in a different program. We're really focusing on our North Star and this whole idea of building critical thinkers. So we're looking at how our current programming in math, K-12, is really helping us build critical thinkers, and we are finding some pockets of gaps that our program does not fill. So we will be looking to pilot different programs next year and hopefully come back to the curriculum committee with a recommendation of a program that we will adopt.
So prior to this, and this was well before you, there were programs in place that worked for students, and they had to memorize back in kindergarten, and it just built their foundation. Why did they remove that?
So I think we have to be very careful when we say they worked, because when we look at data, and I've been pulling data back for 10, 15 years, so even before my time.
The 80s, well before your time.
Oh, well,
it worked.
yeah, so I was a kid. Before I was even born.
You look at the grades and
You just lost her. She wasn't
and
born yet.
reading.
So, I'm old school enough to say I agree, but I have to be honest. When we say it worked even in the 80s and 70s, right, it wasn't like we really checked to see who it worked for and how many kids it worked for. My school experience was great. I was one of the top kids. But I can look back and see that as an educator now for 30-something years, we left a lot of kids out. And schools did not check to see if everyone was understanding or moving forward together. And remember, when we were in school too, kids were able to drop out of school. So we kind of, those of a certain age, we kind of gloss over that part and we forget. So you don't have the same dropping out levels now across the country that you had then. So we don't know if it worked per se because we really didn't check with everyone.
Well, when I went to school, if you couldn't pass the math, you stayed back
Yeah.
for the year. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And then there were the bigger kids in school because they didn't pass. And I made my son memorize all the facts. That's what I do with everything, because that builds a huge database in your brain. And then you see something, you're like, oh yeah, this is blah, blah, blah. And it just makes it easier along the way.
So fact fluency is actually part of our current programming. So in K5, really, because it's different facts, we do require students to have a certain level of fact fluency. And, we do it through different games. We do it through just flashcards. And so that is still part of our programming. I think our problem is not really the fact fluency. I think we have a lot, like I said, getting students to be critical thinkers is really beyond just memorizing facts, because memorizing will take you up to a certain point, but then if you don't have the conceptual understanding or you have any idea what you're doing means in the real world, you will not be a critical thinker, and that's how everything is moving towards that attribute of, if you're a critical thinker, whether you can memorize it or not, you won't really make it far, because facts, formulas, whatever, it's easy to pull up on Google, or, we have AI now. So it's really that component that cannot be replaced by technology or AI or a calculator, which is that critical thinking
Right.
piece.
And when I went to school, we didn't have any of that. I hate to date myself again, as Dr. Hill is sitting there laughing. But, I would introduce different things like cooking, like how many ounces of water, how many cc's, boiling point of water, boiling point of something else, tablespoons, teaspoons, growing gardens, everything. It just makes a big difference when you introduce more to take it to a higher level.
So what you just said, Ms. Cantor, is what Dr. Hady's talking about, and that's what the presenter was saying. He kept putting a bunch of problems up on the screen for the whole room, and really challenging the room. How many ways can you solve this? Not just doing, number facts, but we all came up with our own ways. And then we went to the breakout groups. We were in the room, a tight, hot room, and they gave us a situational problem in writing. And then we had to go ahead and solve the problem. She broke us into groups of 3 and solved the problem. Dr. Hady was with one group, I was with one group. She thought her group was smarter. They weren't. So, but we all solved it. But if you looked at what we did 2 different models to solve it. And that's what the speaker in the morning was talking about, right? And the way we went to school, if we're honest, it was always the way the teacher told you. This is the way you do it. And there was no room to have kids solve it in a different way. If they can find a different methodology to get the answer and understand how they did it, following all the base principles of mathematics, just using math, why are we stopping them from doing that? And we've been talking about AI, which I love. I worked out a table at home the night before, and by hand, because I went to school at the same time he went to school. So I did this whole table by hand. I did it the next morning. I told Dr. Hayes, look, I did this table by hand. And I said, I got to put this in ChatGPT and check myself. So it was kind of deflating that ChatGPT, once I entered, but I had to enter the correct information, took 5 seconds. I did it in an hour the night before at the kitchen table. ChatGPT did it in 5 seconds. We're not saying that kids don't need to learn the basics. They have to learn the basics, but we can't have teachers getting caught up in, the very technical steps of things with kids. It's like when calculators came in the early 80s and teachers thought we were all going to cheat and not know how to do math. You just don't waste time with small calculations anymore. You need to understand the principles of it to go on to do other problems, and they have to be real life problems and situations.
I understand that, but I just want to make sure, because my father was very highly educated in math. He was a tool design engineer, and the programs that they wrote for the company he worked for, he worked in defense. A lot of times it was a failure. Not a lot of times, sometimes it was a failure. So he had to go down into the shop and look at the actual part that was a failure. And he came back up and had to do the design work himself, well before a computer. And he still did it after, when the computer program was a failure. Yeah, so it's just, they need to have real sound skills on that. So.
Right, and I think that goes back to what Dr. Hill was saying. So even though he inputted his same formula in ChatGPT, if he did not have the knowledge, remember that first time around, it gave us the wrong answer. So he would have not realized it was wrong unless he knew what he was doing. So that's
Right.
what we're trying to get students, like, to know how to do it, but also to know that there are tools out there that can help you make sure that you did it right, or that there is a different way of doing it.
Or using your critical thinking, saying, gee, I know this is right the way I did it, but what's presented to me is not right through AI.
Right, yeah.
So, okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Dr. Hill? Okay, next committee reports. Are there any committee reports? Looking, seeing no one with a hand up. Other matters, announcements, regular Board of Ed meetings. Board of Ed Curriculum Committee scheduled for Tuesday, April 29th, 4:30 PM, and that is virtual. Board of Education Curriculum Committee, Tuesday, May 13th, 4:30 PM, and again, virtual. Next regular Board of Ed meeting is Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, 7 PM, here in the boardroom. Are there any announcements? I'll start with Ms. Zotter. Any announcements? Mr. Madison? All good. Mr. Wollaston?
No announcements, but welcome.
Ms. Cantor?
I do, and I don't have my paper in front of me, but I just wanted to say Happy Teachers Week. It's coming up, and to say Happy Administrative Assistants Week and Happy Nurses Week.
Thank you. Mr. Lockhart?
No comment.
Mr. Halleck?
No announcements.
Ms. Taylor?
Everyone enjoy the break if you have one. Thank you.
Mr. Panos?
No, nothing. Thank you.
I'll look at Mr. Lockhart with his captain hat, even though it's from Wilson. There's a pancake breakfast, I understand, though, at Hayden. Mr. Madison, bring your salt.
I will.
Okay. I think it'll be a good thing for us to go as a board to Hayden, support them, and then go to clean up Wilson Deerfield area afterwards. So I'll look to see who's signing up for those things. Next item is audience to visitor. Is there anybody online with a hand raised?
There are attendees online, but currently no one, excuse me, no one has their hand raised.
And anybody in the boardroom would like to address the board? Seeing and hearing none, I don't think you need to read your script. It's okay if I close audience to visitor. Without objection, audience to visitor is closed. Next item, executive session on an employee personnel matter. Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the board enter into executive session to discuss contract non-renewals before taking possible action in the regular meeting. We invite Superintendent Dr. Hill and Chief Operations Director, I believe, Chief of Operations, Danielle Batchelder, into executive session with us.
Is there a second?
Second motion.
Motion made by Ms. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Panos. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Abstentions, motion carries 900. At 9:35, we are into executive session. I think we're going to stay here.
Yeah, half the time. Half the time you do, half the time you don't. Never quite sure.
5-minute break?
Oh, that'd be perfect.
Very exciting for James being involved.
Yeah, it is.